Susan, have you ever been stitching and finding it difficult to stitch in a straight line?
Often.
BERNINA has a lot of help for that. Even when we're teaching beginner sewers, it's difficult for them to maintain a consistent seam allowance.
That is a tricky thing to master when you're starting out.
Yes, it is. I'm going to show you a foot that's going to make it easier. The first guide I'd like to show everyone is on the number 57 patchwork foot. The guide is fixed to the side of the foot, so it will help you maintain those perfect 1/4 inch seam allowances. If you are doing things other than a 1/4 inch seam allowance, we have a guide that fixes to the bed of the machine. This seam guide can be placed on the machine and then positioned wherever you want it. So if you are a garment sewer, you can fix this at the 5/8 inch seam allowance. And you can use this with any foot.
So the guide acts as a wall for the fabric?
That's correct. But if this isn't enough seam allowance for you, then we have a guide that comes with the machine and the slide-on table. This guide moves back and forth, giving you a lot of room.
You really have a wide seam allowance.
Yes, you do. And the nice thing about this one is it will go on either side of the needle. So depending on what you're doing, you can put it wherever
Makes it really
you want.
convenient.
Yes. These guides are all fine if you are seaming. But there are times when you want to be sewing on top of your fabric. Your fabric would cover all of these guides, like when we do channel quilting.
Right.
So I have a guide that will fit on my machine, and this guide fits into the back of most of our feet.
I didn't know what it was for a lot of years. I use it now a lot, but it took me a long time to figure out what it was for.
Well, it does come with most machines. I always get the question what this screw is for on the back of most of our feet. This screw loosens up, and this guide fits into the hole on the back of most of the feet, and then you would just tighten it down when you have it where you want it.
I love this guide because it eliminates a lot of marking when you're doing channel or grid quilting.
That's correct. And while this guide comes with most of the machines, we also have an additional guide that you may purchase for the other side of the foot, depending on, again, what you're doing. We have the same type of guide that comes with our walking foot, and you can have a left-handed or right-handed guide. So if I want to do channel quilting, I will simply set the guide the distance that I want it. Like on this quilt, when I do channel quilting, I just set that guide to the position that I need it for my many rows of stitching. And the rows will be equally spaced.
You know, Nina, one of the things that I've learned about sewing with a guide is that when you sew, using a guide, it's a stationary object. Instead of trying to watch the needle come down in a straight line, you can just keep your fabric against that guide or keep the guide in the place that you need to be, and it gives you a nice straight line of stitching.
That's very true. We have one more guide I want to show you.
Great.
And that's a guide, again, that's going to fit into the back of the foot. These come in a set, so you have both the left hand and the right hand guide. And they fit in the back of the foot just like our other guide did.
But they're a lot larger.
They are a lot larger, so you have more positions. And they have the inch or the metric markings on them. So, with all of these guides that are available, there is no reason why you cannot sew in a straight line. To see all of these guides and try them out, visit your local BERNINA dealer today.